What's good with YouTube? It's your man Cosplay Ray, and we're back with another episode of We Are Epic Cosplay. This is the fourth and final installment of my video on how I got started on building my own Batman vs Superman mech suit grapple gun. So at this point right here, I'm pretty much doing the detail work, mostly focusing the detail in the handle area. Right at this point, I'm pretty much making what you would consider the pommel. There's like a little section on the bottom of the handle. This handle is kind of like, it reminds me more like a sword handle that's connected to a grapple gun. So I guess that's why I'm calling it the pommel area, because it reminds, like I said, it reminds me of a pommel. So to get this effect, I basically took the handle and I am pressing down on some 6mm craft foam to get an impression of the bottom of the wood dowel. I am then drawing that circle out, that impression out with a pencil in order to see the line. I'm then going to cut that foam out, that little square out, and then I'm going to cut the circle out. Now I probably did about, I want to say maybe 4.5 layers of foam to get the thickness of the pommel that I needed. So right here I'm pretty much cutting out the circle, and then I'm going to combine the two pieces that I've already cut. Now remember, I'm using Zap-A-Gap glue. I don't get paid for saying that, but it is the super glue of choice that I like to use with my builds. Pretty much all of my builds, it's either Zap-A-Gap or it's contact cement, or sometimes it's both. So right here I'm basically doing a test fit before gluing any of the pieces final together. So at this point I'm pretty much trying to get a feel for how thick this piece needs to be. Make sure you always have your reference images handy that you could obviously look at and make sure that you get whatever it is you're building as close to the reference picture as you want. So here I'm going to super glue this piece to the first piece, and like I said, I probably did about at least 4 to 4.5 layers. I say half a layer because the craft foam I'm mistaken. The craft foam that I was using was about a 1/2 inch thick, so I think I went with 2 or 3 1/2 inch pieces, and then I went with the 6mm, which is about a 1/4 inch. Because this piece on the bottom it was a fairly thick piece, so I didn't have any foam that was that thick. I don't even know if they make foam that thick, but because of the way that I needed the piece to slide onto the bottom of the wood dowel or the handle, about maybe halfway, I thought it was the best way to go about it. Layers, glue together, and then a couple more layers to fill out the bottom. So as you can see, that's about 3. We're about 3 layers in right now. So I was mistaken. It wasn't 4 layers, it was 3 layers at 1/2 inch thick, and then a 1/4 inch piece glued on for the final piece, I believe. Now remember, this is just kind of a reference video in different areas or different videos to kind of show the beginnings of this build. When I got into the final detail work, I did it off camera, but you could detail it as whatever way you feel fit. And basically, remember, go by your reference picture or reference pictures to try to get the detail as close as you want to get it. It's your cosplay build, so you could do it how you want. So here I am basically cutting out the last piece for the bottom, which was the 1/4 inch or the 6mm thick foam. So basically I just wanted to layer it up enough to get it to the thickness or the height that I needed. And then I'm going to take a Sharpie, a silver metallic Sharpie marker, and I'm going to draw out the shape, or the exact shape that this piece needs to be, because I went bigger. It's always best to go bigger when you're doing something like this, and then you could cut material away later. It's better to have more and go down to less than to have less and need to try to add more. So what I did is I drew the shape out, and then I took it to my bandsaw once I got the shape the way I needed it to, and I basically cut everything down just like that. And using a bandsaw on this particular foam works really well. I'm really surprised that the foam didn't get all chopped up. It was a pretty clean cut. Okay, and now I'm just doing another final test fitting. You always want to make sure you have your piece exactly where you need it to before you decide to, final glue. So this is just so you guys can see on a white background the detail, because the black kind of gets faded out in the cutting board, so you can't really see it as clearly. So I'll put that piece of paper there so you can get a better look at the detail work so far. So at this point, I'm really happy with the way this is looking and coming out. So it's really starting to take shape. And now adding the front piece. As you can see, now it's really starting to resemble Batman's grapple gun. I know that they don't show the grapple gun too often in the movie, but it's in the book, so we're able to get a better look at it. So right now we're going to go into a slide of basically some of the other steps that I was putting into. Like right here is the little wooden area that looks like a part on a gun, like the revolver of a gun, that I had to add into the little barrel in the back. And I started adding some tubing, which I had to cut some tubing and heat it up to put it in the middle section. And now I'm getting into adding some more detail around the handle. I made a trim around the piece that goes from the handle to the main body, and added some craft foam for a filler piece, so I could add the craft foam and Wonderflex that will be the shell that will go over these two pieces. And now we get to start adding some more detail with some craft foam, the thinnest craft foam they have. And I'm using Wonderflex to start connecting the upper piece with the handle part. And I covered used Wonderflex to cover the barrel and over there with the pommel and above the pommel. So this is the part I really enjoy, because now it's basically got primed, so it all looks like one solid piece before I get to painting. And right here is where I started using some gunmetal metallic paint to start painting the majority of the body. And this part right here is on the back part of the gun. I think this is where the wire would be held and coiled up. So this is all wood and some craft foam. And here it is, basically connected to the back of the grapple gun. I used metallic paint to paint it, and I used a silver Sharpie marker to bring out some like metallic scraping highlights. Here I kind of added some carbon fiber on the part of the handle, and did some outlining with the Sharpie. Here's the back part of it, all done. Now shading is key. Different color shading will bring out your piece. Now this was the grapple hook. I made it with a wooden dowel and Wonderflex. And here it is, all painted. I used I think a chrome paint or a silver paint for this. And here is the finished product, the back side of the gun, which still looks pretty cool, but I do prefer the other side. So I hope you guys got a good, decent understanding of how I kind of put this gun together. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you know when I stop putting out other videos. And remember, hashtag I cosplay my way. And you can too. And you should too. Peace.